So if you had told me that being almost, or well, in my late 30s, that I'd still be getting hangovers, I would say you're crazy. Because I didn't get hangovers really too bad when I was in my college days and mid 20s. I really don't get hangovers that bad. Like, it's got to be really bad for me to get a hangover. But if you told me I was gonna have more hangovers with less drinking, which was really nothing. I don't really drink that much anymore, except for on special occasions like weddings. Then I would say you're nuts. So, fast forward to, I don't know, the last couple of years. Most recently, I'd say the last year and a half. And I've started to realize that I can get hangovers from eating too much salt. Now, this blew my mind. And my wife had told me that she got hangovers from salt, like if she had like chips and salsa, or if she had like Chex Mix or anything, popcorn, any of that, she'd said she'd get like a salt hangover the next day, or she'd feel real like gross and bloated. And I didn't really have that problem. So I also don't eat a lot of salt in my diet, so that could be the other thing, is I kind of remove salt where I can, and if there is salt, I limit it to a small amount just for things like blood pressure and things like that. So I didn't really have that experience with salt. My experience was fairly benign. Up until recently, when I started waking up like feeling hungover, and like coffee didn't do it, and I was just like feeling awful. I honestly thought I was sick. Like, I was starting to get sick more and more, and I was a little concerned, but after a while I started to realize it coincided with what I was eating. This all goes back to, as you get older, things like this start to come up, which is the fun thing about getting older. And I started to realize that the salt was making me literally feel hungover, like headaches, tired, a little nauseous, and I was like, this stinks. So I was like, okay, maybe this is just in my head, and maybe I'm just imagining this, or you know how you have something happen and you correlate it with a specific food, like if you ever eat peanut butter and you got sick off of it, which happened to me once, then like you associate being sick whenever you eat peanut butter. And that happened with me for, I don't know, 5 or 10 years. When I was younger, I think I ate like peanut butter straight out of the jar and ate like half of it, and I got really sick. So I was off peanut butter for an extremely long period of time. But anyways, so I've been starting to get real like salt intolerant, we'll call it. I'm already lactose intolerant, so I might as well just throw salt onto it too. So, and I drink a lot of water throughout the day. Like, I've got this Stanley right here that, I don't know, this is like the 40-ounce one, whatever, I don't know. It got it from work, but I drink at least 2, if not 3 of those a day. And that's assuming I'm using this one and not a bigger water bottle, which I'm drinking a bigger one maybe twice a day. So what I've actually had to start doing is, like, if we know we're going to have chips and salsa, or make nachos at home, or have popcorn for a movie at home, or go out to the movies and have popcorn for that matter, I've actually have to prepare for it now, which is insane. So the way I get around these salt hangovers, and it's worked for the most part, is I'll either have I basically pregame before I have salt now, which is insane. So I'll either have like a whole glass of water, or like, half of this thing before I have it, or a bottle of water, whatever it might be. And then as I'm eating whatever the salty thing is, I'll either have more water, or, maybe even do like a Gatorade. And afterwards, drink a ton of water, like just a ton of water. And that seems to help. So I looked it up because I was curious, like, why does this seem to be happening? Well, it turns out that when you have a ton of salt, or elevated amount, whatever your body deems is too much, you get dehydrated, which makes sense. Salt takes away moisture, dehydrates you, although putting more salt back in makes you absorb water, so there's something else there that I don't understand. Anyways, basically the salt makes you dehydrated, which then makes you feel hungover, which I guess is the same thing that alcohol does. So that's the reason why it actually does exist to have a salt hangover. So I've started to do these tactics of like preparing for it, which if you ever told me that I was going to have to prepare to have popcorn, I would never have believed you. On the flip side now, I will say that maybe it's because of all the, water I'm drinking, but when we do go out for like weddings or birthdays or whatever it might be, and I do have some, drinks, I don't get hungover the next day. And it could be the moderation too. When you're in college, things seem to get kind of out of hand. But I've seen a certain amount of grown-up parties or, older crowd parties that they still get kind of out of hand. So, but reasonably, I actually don't get as bad of a hangover or any hangover these days when it comes to actual alcohol. But if it's salt, a bowl of popcorn will do it. Or a plate of nachos. Like, you better bet my fingers are going to feel swollen and I'm going to feel not great the next day. Granted, there's cheese on it and you have to take a dairy pill, which also might contribute a little bit to that, for the stomach at least. But in general, I have to prepare for salt. So that's how I'm getting around this salt issue. It's not perfect by any means. I still get these kind of hangover kind of vibes either the next day or like 20-30 minutes after I have it. So I'm still trying to figure that out, because I don't want to drink a ton of Gatorade Zero, because it try to get rid of as much sugar as possible in whatever I'm eating as well. But I don't know, that's kind of where I'm at this point with salt in my life, and it's a love-hate relationship. I love it and it absolutely hates me. So again, I take out most of it for health reasons, for blood pressure and things like that, which has helped quite a bit. Not as much as activity and, walking and riding bikes and things like that, but it has helped. But yeah, basically I pregame before I have a bowl of popcorn, and then I drink a ton of water afterwards, and that gets me through my salt hangovers, at least for now.